beginning, Metallica stood for rebellion, a defiance of the masses. Followers were hungry for music beyond boring pop songs. Then came Enter Sandman. Metal's underground lairs were suddenly flooded with arena lights, radio play, and betrayal. Can you smell it? Die-hard fans saw Metallica trade their thrash blueprint for catchy hooks and bigger paychecks. But beneath the surface of this so-called sellout lies something profound. Enter Sandman wasn't just a radio hit, it's a masterclass in composition. Every riff, transition, and shift was born of a single idea. This is Shred, and today we'll be constructing the music theory behind the best-selling metal song, Enter Sandwoman. Enter Sandman. Grab a front row seat as I break down the sacred structure of this masterwork in Guitar Pro. Get my scale Bible for free in the description below. Turn scales into heavy riffs with my brand new Riff Lord Challenge course. My simple 3-step formula frees you from the pentatonic trap, making it easy to write your best songs. Hurry to get 40% off in the description below. Now let's begin by checking out the intro. Now, Enter Sandman begins with what I'm going to call a prime source material. This is where we draw everything else from. And what's really interesting is that it begins on a pickup note. So you have this entire measure of rest, and then 1/8 note before the next bar begins, boom, we have our entrance, and that gives us like a kickstart of energy. So there's actually a tied note here, and the first pitch that we hit is an E, which is going to be our P word, and by P word I mean not pusillanimous, but the pedal tone. I know you're probably thinking it was pusillanimous. From there, we go up to the octave. So we're really being clear. Kirk Hammett is the one who wrote this riff, and he's really being clear about the tonic foundation. That's a big mistake I see a lot of beginning composers make, is they don't use enough of the P word or pedal tones. Okay, the next entrance is going to be a defining aspect of the tonality. So we're going to get a G note. And for those of you who understand scales, you know that an E to a G, that's going to make this a minor scale because that tonic to third relationship is minor. If it was a G sharp like that, then it would be a major key. But no, come on, man. This is a dark and twisted song, so it's got to be a minor key. Now, that it's going to get even darker here. So what we're going to do next is add some very important pitches here. And the next one's going to be the devil's note. And by the devil's note, I mean that flat 5 scale degree, the B flat, right? This was, how Robert Johnson sold his soul at the crossroads, that really it goes even further back than that, this idea that you can exchange your soul for unlimited musical power. It's called a Faustian bargain, and you would hear that in the music of Richard Wagner, the German composer. So it started a lot earlier, but that popular myth went through the blues, and here we are in the present day, more or less, with Metallica sourcing that evil flat 5th scale degree. Now, we kind of resolve that by going down to the 4th degree of the key A, which is much more stable. Now, let's see, am I missing anything? I think it just goes back to the root after that. I think this is like a quarter note. Let's see if I got this anywhere close to correct. There's probably one more. There, okay, let's listen. Yeah, okay, cool. So that little figure right there, it becomes like this droning effect in the background that's going to set the stage and build the scene for something more dramatic to come. Now, the number one name of the game here in Enter Sandman, what makes this song so brilliant is the build. It starts off soft and gradually grows and grows to the big reveal. So we're going to add next in our drums and bass. These are known as basic tracks in the studio. Let's check it out. So you can really hear things gradually increasing in intensity. Now next we're going to talk about the 3 levels of the Enter Sandman riff. Let's check out level 1. Now level 1 is really crucial here. We're going to again reinforce with the P word or pedal tones the tonic note of the key, which is E. So we're going to start slamming that. I think actually there's a another tie over here. And then it just starts chugging away. And at some point it goes up here to the octave. So all we're doing here is playing the tonic note over and over again. So let's see, I'm just going to add a slide here. Slide in from below is what I want. Yeah. Okay, we just need one more of those low E's. Okay. So this is basically going to be the drill for the next riff. And this is what I call level 1 or riff 1 of the build. You can see right here. If you can take a main riff and work backwards, that's the most effective way of composing. And by work backwards, I mean simplify, take away notes. So we're going to get to the main riff in a minute, which you're probably familiar with. But if you can start dropping notes, taking things away to get to its most simplistic form and then build it back up, that's the best compositional template. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, okay, so there is level 1. Now let's check out level 2. Now in level 2, we're starting to sketch out more of what we heard in the intro. Let's see here. So we've got a couple pedals, dun, dun, and then it comes up to the octave, I think. And then it does that that move here that happens in the intro. So we have the devil's note down to the resolved note and then back to some chugs. Okay, let's see. Actually, you know what? I don't think it does that note yet. That's in the next level. So let's just do that. It's so brilliant how they did this. Is insane. I hope you guys are getting this. Unbelievable, just the subtlety. To write a simple song is quite difficult. It's easy to make something complex and convoluted. Oh, and does it do the... It also does this flat second move at the end, I believe, which is really cool. So, yep. Okay, so this, if you think about it right here, this is really like a Locrian passage because you've got the root, you've got the flat 5, and you have also the flat second. So the Locrian scale, there's a few different scales used in Enter Sandman. And if we tabbed out the Locrian scale, you're going to have the root E, the flat second F, and then we go up to the third G. And then you have the 4th degree A, and here comes the note of Satanism, intention, that flat 5. Then we're going to move up to the flat 6. This is a very disturbing scale. And then to the root. So there is Locrian right there. And honestly, yeah, that's really what we have going on in this bar. It's just an incredibly tense sound because you have the two most dissonant intervals, that flat 5 and the flat second. Now let's check out level 3. Okay, so in level 3, we're basically going to take level 2 and just add one note, which is brilliant. So if we take that 6, resolve it down to the 5, then we get our completed riff. And let's see, we might have one too many pedals in here. Okay, let's check it out. No, that's not it. Here we go. Yeah, one more pedal here. And then our flat second. Cool. Yeah, that's it. So now we basically have the entire riff sketched out. It's going to change even more, though, once we hit the main riff. Now let's check out the big reveal. Now, finally, we get to that point where we're pulling back the curtain and the big rock show starts. The main riff here is a real treat. So you've got all the elements of the intro and the 3 different levels of that riff build. And there's even a tag that's added. So let's look at the tablature here in Guitar Pro. Right there, we have a new tag, and this is actually different than how the original riff started. Apparently, what Kirk was doing before Lars gave him some feedback was he was just playing every riff like the tag. So it'd be like... right? But Lars was like, hey, wait a minute, why don't you repeat that first part 3 times and then put the tag on the end? Which is actually brilliant. Now let's get into the music theory behind verse 1. Okay, so verse 1 has this really heavy palm muting. Gotta find like the heaviest spot there. Sometimes you gotta move it around, you know, this way. But we basically just have that E power chord to an F. And then the tag there. So here it is in tablature. All of what we're hearing is just that E pitch, a reinforcement of the root. Writing songs is much simpler than we make it, right? A lot of times we're trying to add all these notes and stuff, but really it just comes down to playing the root a lot. That's why I emphasize drones. So check this out. And this part, you know, you could argue is kind of like a Phrygian vibe. So Phrygian, if we were to tap out the Phrygian scale here, let's see, let me start a new line. So Phrygian would be like Locrian, except you don't have the flat 5. So you got the root, flat second, third, the 4th, the 5th, flat 6, and then we have that beautiful 7th before getting back to the root. It's a delicious sound. If I were to play that with like a clean sound, so you can get a sense of the pedal. Right, it has a very kind of exotic vibe there. Beautiful. So that's our tone palette for the verse. Now something very interesting is about to happen. We're going to modulate up a whole step, and this is going to create even more intensity. This is one eye. So at one point, Lars told Hetfield, hey, can this riff go anywhere else? You know, he's kind of like bored with that version, you know, of the verse. And what he was basically asking for was a pre-chorus. So that's where we're at now. A pre-chorus is a connecting piece of material from the verse to the chorus, and it should kind of increase in intensity. So if the verse is here and the chorus is here, the pre-chorus is in between. So we go up a whole step to F sharp, and you know, it's that same, but in F sharp. So it probably took them a little while to, piece that together. How do I play that riff in a different spot? But it's emphasizing the same key intervals. You have the root here, F sharp. You've got the minor third, A, and then you have the devil's tritone, C, resolving down to the fourth. So the same structure. Brilliant. Okay, the time has come for the most important aspect of the song, the chorus. So let's hear that. So for the chorus, we stay in F sharp and we have these evil chords. So let's have a look at the tab. As I stated at the beginning, everything in this song is drawn from primary source material. So here we're just playing like a chord version of that intro, and we're simplifying it even more. So we're just hitting the root, the flat 5, and the 4th degree. And then you'll get the flat 7 in there at times. So it's really, really interesting how they're able to take this one basic riff or line and then extrapolate, other ideas from that. I also want to mention a primary scale that's being used here, like in the beginning, in the intro, and throughout the song is the blues scale. Now, if you know the pentatonic scale, it's similar. You start on the root, and then you play the third. And let's just imagine for a minute that we are playing the pentatonic scale. And we're just going to add basically one note here. So we're going to put in an in-between note between the 12 and the 14 that you're probably used to playing. Actually, that needs to be a 13. There we go. And then we head up to the 5th degree on 14, and then we're going to finish off the scale. So here's your blues scale. It's a 6-note scale as opposed to the 5 notes. So we've got everything, is the same, right, between that pentatonic, except for the additional one secret devilish note right there. And it comes in later too. So that scale has a ton of just emotional feel and character. Now, Metallica talks about their songwriting secrets in the new masterclass called Being in a Band. Check this out.
Songwriting is, in my mind, like a big puzzle of just pieces that have to fit together. In Metallica, we start with what we call a main riff. That main riff feeds the song.
The prime source material.
Often sets the tempo, sets the key, and then the verses, the bridges, the choruses, the middle parts, the intros, all of that are usually derived out of the feel of those main riffs.
Now, if you're in my Modern Mastery guitar class, your homework is going to be to write 30 seconds of original music, maybe actually up to 60 to give you some time to build here. But I want you to use that Enter Sandman template that starts soft and gradually grow to the big reveal. So I want 3 different versions. 3 different versions of your riff. Just like we talked about the 3 levels of the Enter Sandman riff. Deconstruct your riff. So start with the main riff and then start to take away parts until you get to something really basic and simple so you can rebuild that back up. I can't wait to hear what you guys come up with. Until next time, shred till you're dead.